You know, we make thousands of choices every single day. But what if I told you that the feeling of making a choice is actually an illusion? What if by the time you're even aware you've decided something, your brain has already made the call? Let's dive into the incredible science behind this decision illusion.
Just think about it for a second. When did you actually decide to click play on this? Was it the exact moment your finger hit the button, a split second before? You probably have a pretty clear moment in your head.
Well, here's the wild part. Decades of neuroscience research suggest that the real beginning of that decision happened seconds, and yeah, I mean seconds, before you were even consciously aware of it. That little gap, that space between your brain's hidden activity and your feeling of choice, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so to really get this, we first have to kind of dismantle our everyday idea of what a decision even is. This is what the research calls the decision illusion.
So check this out. This timeline shows a discovery that honestly turned neuroscience on its head. Scientists found this consistent pattern. A few seconds before you even feel the urge to do something, this wave of brain activity, they call it a readiness potential, starts quietly building up in the background. It's your brain getting ready. Only after that signal is already underway do you get that conscious aha moment of, okay, I'm going to do it now, right before the action happens. So the sequence is brain prepares, then you become aware, then you act. Not the other way around, which is what we all thought.
And that, of course, leads to a really profound and maybe even a little bit of an unsettling question. If your conscious self, the you that you think of as being in charge, isn't kicking things off, then what is? What's the real source of our decision?
To answer that, we have to kind of rebuild our whole understanding of the brain from the ground up. Let's forget the idea of the brain as just a thinking computer for a minute, and instead see it for what it really is, a primal engine.
The source material we're looking at calls the brain a need satisfaction engine. Before it does any abstract thinking, its number one core job is just to keep your body and mind in a state of balance, or what scientists call equilibrium. Think of it like a thermostat in your house. Every single thing the brain does begins when it detects that things are a little off balance, a need, and its job is to kick on and set things right again.
And this isn't just about obvious stuff like being hungry or thirsty. A feeling of loneliness? That's an imbalance in your social equilibrium. Feeling confused or curious? That's a cognitive imbalance. From the most basic animal instinct to the most complex human desire for meaning in life, it all starts with the brain sensing a problem and starting a process to go fix it. But of course, it's never just one need at a time, right? Our brains are constantly managing a whole symphony of needs, all playing at once, from the super simple to the incredibly profound.
You can almost think of it like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but mapped directly onto your brain's hardware. Down at the base, you've got the ancient parts of the brain managing raw survival, food, water, sleep. Layered on top of that, you have regions like the amygdala, constantly scanning for threats to your safety. Higher up still, you have the parts responsible for social connection, for belonging, for your status in a group. And right at the very top, you have the most modern part, the prefrontal cortex, which handles that big, abstract search for purpose and meaning. Each new layer is built on and has to manage the drives coming from all the layers below it.
So at any given moment, all these needs are active, right? They're creating all these competing motivational forces inside you. But here's the brain's most incredible trick. It takes all of them, the hunger, the need for safety, the desire to impress your friends, the search for knowledge, and it integrates them into a single unified direction for what to do next. The source calls this the goal arrow. It's this single vector that points you toward the one action that will best satisfy the most pressing needs all at once.
And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. If our decisions really begin with these unconscious needs, and they get automatically integrated into this goal arrow, well, what does that mean for the choice itself?
See, the brain basically runs on two interacting systems. You've got the automatic system, which is like your body's autopilot. It's lightning fast, super efficient, totally unconscious, and it handles all your habits. Then you have the goal-oriented system. This is your conscious pilot. It's slow, deliberate, and it burns a ton of energy. It's the part that kicks in for new or really tricky problems. And what we call a choice simply emerges from the constant dance between these two.
This quote from the source material just nails it. Your conscious experience of deciding something isn't what causes the action. It's the readout. It's the story your conscious mind tells itself about a complex calculation that all these unconscious processes have already finished. Your feeling of choice is like the press secretary announcing a decision that was already made behind closed doors.
And just how big is this gap between the unconscious brain getting to work and you becoming aware of it? It's kind of staggering. Some fMRI studies have been able to predict a person's decision to press a simple button up to 7, or in some cases, even 10 seconds before the person themselves knew what they were going to do. I mean, think about that. That's how far ahead of the game your unconscious brain is.
Now, I get it. Hearing that our choices are the involuntary outcomes of these deep neural computations, it can feel a little demoralizing. Does that mean we're just puppets on a string? Not at all. And this is where we get to redefine free will in a way that's actually much more powerful and a lot more accurate.
Let's tackle that question head-on. Just because that final moment of choice is an automatic outcome doesn't mean you have zero control. It just means your control exists at a different level, a much higher, more important level.
Here's where your real power is. Real free will isn't about that little spark in the moment of choice. It's the long-term hard work of being the architect of your own decision-making engine. First, you get to allocate control. You consciously decide which problems are important enough to deserve your slow, deliberate effort. Second, you get to shape your beliefs. By reflecting on your values, you are literally programming the default settings for your brain's automatic system. And third, you tune the system by deliberately building the habits that you want to guide you automatically in the future.
So to put this all together, the source uses this really cool metaphor called the Brain Kinematics Model. Now don't worry about all the jargon you see here. The core idea is actually really simple. Think of a need, like thirst, as a kind of tension or strain in a physical system. The drive to go get water is like a force that gets released to resolve that tension. Your brain is just a dynamic system of all these forces constantly pushing and pulling, all of them just trying to get back to a perfect state of balance.
So, let's end on this. The choices you make today are, in a very real sense, the involuntary automatic outcomes of the brain system you've built through all of your past actions, your habits, and your moments of reflection. So the real question isn't, what will I choose to do right now? The more powerful question is, what kind of choice-making system am I actively building for the person I'm going to be tomorrow? Because that is where your true agency really lies.